Hello and welcome. Today's conversation is about how to show up on a first date with a rich man. Basically, things you need to remember on a first date with a rich man. First, this can apply to almost all men, but here we're thinking rich. So we'll say rich men. So, what's the first thing you must remember when you show up on a first date with a rich man? The first thing you must remember is that you are a beautiful woman. You should show up, look good, smell good, sound good, and feel good, which is very important. You should also remember that you are worthy as a woman. You are not on the date to prove that you are worthy. um, it's the man who is on the date to show that he's worthy of you, to prove that he's worthy of being with you. Why? Because you already impressed him when he approached you to ask you out on the date, when he invited you to the date. So it's a privilege for him to even be on a date with you. It's an honor for him to be on the date with you because he gets to be in your presence. He gets to be on a date with you. So you don't really have to prove your worthiness or your worth. Yes. And also, it's the man who impressed the woman. He convinced, he impressed, he chased, he proves that he is worthy of the woman. In the animal kingdom, and also in the animal kingdom, it is the male species, the male animal, who proves to the female that he is worthy of her by doing things and giving her things. So, yes, look at this pretty flower. It is the male animal who impressed the woman and proves his worth to the woman by giving her things and doing things for her. So you should remember that. And also, humans are a form of animals, but a different form of animals. So this applies to males, the male human as well. So you do not need to impress a man because he is there to impress you. Which means that you do not need to lead and talk nonstop about your qualifications, your resume, your accomplishments, your money, your cars, or any of the things that men use to impress women because you are a woman. You do not need to compete with men. They need to use these things to impress you. Those are not qualifiers. You do not need to lead with those because he's rich. He does not need to be impressed by those things. He will not really need to be. He does, because you have to think about it. He's rich. He doesn't need you for that, um, because he can afford you to be with you without those things. Okay. He has it covered already. He has it covered for himself, for you, and for a child if a child were to come along. But you know who would be impressed by those things? It's the poor man who would be impressed by those things because he needs you to pay half the rent, the mortgage, and half the bills. So, of course, he's going to be impressed by your car, your money, your qualifications, your resume, or your accomplishments, and what have you. Because sometimes the poorer man wants to use you to pay. Um, Half of the expenses. So he'll probably take advantage of you. So if he doesn't know that you have these things, then he doesn't know how to take advantage of you. So you should probably hide those things from a poor man. You should actually hide them from a rich man too. So that way he wants to continuously impress you. He knows that he can impress you. Now, should you have those things? Yes, absolutely. You should have those things. Absolutely. Well, if you want to impress someone with those things, you should impress your parents. And also, the people who would be impressed by those things mostly would be your parents, your mommy, your daddy, your other family members, and your friends. Because a rich man, like I said, he doesn't need you for those things. It's the poor man who needs you for those things. And it's unfortunate that women, they have to split bills with men because a man can't afford to be with them on his own. So they have to be in this cycle where they're splitting bills and paying half the rent, and they have to go to work and bring the money, come home, be at home, and be cooking and cleaning, doing laundry, and giving this man romantic time. So it's like, I'm just going to say this without saying too much. It's like the woman is paying half or paying to be with the man because the man cannot afford to be with the woman on his own. And that's just the way it is for a lot of women. And yes. So, also, one more thing you need to remember while you're on the date with a rich man, he's not there to interview you for anything. So you do not need to continuously talk about your job or your resume or your qualifications. What you should do, you should also not reveal too much about yourself. Like, you should not reveal too much about yourself because you should allow him to reveal more about himself. Um, just let him have the floor where he impress you because he wants to impress you. Let him reveal more about himself than you reveal about yourself. So that way you know how he will provide for you. And because you're not there to, like, just reveal too much about yourself, basically. You're there to gather information for him to impress you because you are the woman. Let him be that alpha male that impresses you. So that's what you're there for. And you're also there to, of course, have a pleasant date, um, to allow him to be in your presence. So I believe that about covers it. I think I've covered it. So I hope you've been inspired by this conversation. And so remember to nest in comfort. Bye. Be inspired. Bye.